Yeah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أما بعد، اليوم 23 من شهر جمادى الأولى 1442 الموافق ل 7 جانوري 2021. نواصل درسنا في هذا الكتاب المبارك الداء والدواء. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يتغمد مؤلفه برحمة منه وفضل، وأن يبارك فينا وفيما نتعلمه ويغفر لنا الزلات. Today, inshallah, we will continue from where we stopped last class, and I do believe that we are supposed to begin from the place where Abdurrahman mentioned, where Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah said, وذكر أيضا من حديث ابن عمر يرفعه. ذكر أيضا من حديث ابن عمر يرفعه. This hadith is ضعيف, but it has certain wisdoms in the text that we can benefit from, inshallah. قال والذي نفسي بيده. And according to this hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam is swearing by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لا تقوم الساعة حتى يبعث الله أمراء كذبة ووزراء فجرة وأعوانا خونة وعرفاء ظلمة وقراء فسقة. سبحان الله. كل أنواع السفاهة انطبقت في هؤلاء الناس. See, the day of judgment will never happen except, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let us see the time whereby the leaders, they will be liars. Umara kadaba, Subhanallah. I don't know. This time, politics means to come and give a lot of promises, and you're not going to do. So what do you call that? Lies. It's rampant in almost every place on earth. So this is a sign of the day of judgment. Even if you don't take it from this hadith, you take it from other hadith. Okay. حتى يبعث الله أمراء كذبة ووزراء فجرة. Wazir is a deputy, the second person after the leader. Vice President, Deputy Prime Minister, those second people, in the authority. Ujara Fajara, and they will become Fajara. Abdurrahman, is there any problem with the sound?
No, Sheikh, it's clear.
It's clear? Okay. So maybe, Saada, you go out and come back again, maybe that will solve the issue, inshallah. So, وَوُزَرَاء فَجَرَةً, and also these wazir, they will be fajara. And the one of the greatest people that have influence in the authority is the wazir. Usually the leader takes from him. Before making a decision, they take from him. Consult him first, and take from him, and then decide. So if the wazir is fajir, a bad person, then you should expect the leader also to be the same or worse, because he has his own attitude, and also add to that he is pushed by the wazir to implement his bad ideas and bad thoughts. Life is going to be really bad. وَعَوَانَ خَوَانَ, and also awan, supporters, advisors. It's like this hadith, knows what exactly is going on. Sometimes you might find the leader is okay, like they say in some countries that usually the leader is not bad, but those people who are surrounding him, they are the worst, because if they don't keep giving him wrong advice, he will be good, and then their rizq, according to them, will be cut off. So they will keep him busy with wrong advice, so that he will, be unfair, and unjust to the city and the community. عرفاء ظلمة. And now who left to raise their complaint? The Arafa al-Arif is somebody who is leader in the Qabila. That one also is oppressor. You know, subhanAllah, they are surrounded by darkness on top of darkness. What left for those people is the Arif. Arif is somebody who is the Arif is somebody who is the leader in the community, in the Qabila. Leader in the community and the Qabila. That one also is ظالم. قال عرف ظلمة. وقراء فسق. You know, the scholars who are the one who left for them to guide them, they are also fasaqa, dissolute, corrupt. How do you expect these people to succeed in life, you know? The scholars are bad, the leaders are bad, the authority is bad in every place, you know. And the urafa also are bad. قال سيماهم سيما الرهبان وقلوبهم أنتن من الجيف. You see those scholars, you see them like the monks, you know. They look so righteous, but their heart is worse, you know. It smells worse than the jif. Jifa is a dead animal. You know, when the body get decomposed and go bad, you know. So he says, this hadith says, the worse than, it's okay, inshallah. It's worse than, hadith says, it is worse than the jifa. It smells, the heart smells like, I mean, worse than the jifa, dead animal. أَوَاءُهُمْ مُخْتَلِفًا. They have their desires are scattered, you know. They don't have any specific direction they're going. Different, everyone has his own and different direction that he's planning to take the ummah. Of course, based on their wishes. And you know, dunya has no limit in this regard. فيفتح الله لهم فتنة غبراء مظلمة فيتهاوكون فيها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to open for them a very hard and empty fitna, very hard fitna, which will leave those people confused. التهاوك التحير. They will be left confused, you know, out of the test and the fitna that will visit them, like what it is mentioned in that other hadith. تدع الحليم فيها حيران. The patient person will be confused, not knowing what to decide and what to do. قال والذي نفس محمد بيده لينقضن الإسلام عروة حتى لا يقال الله الله. أعوذ بالله. This part is correct in some other hadith. Yes, there is authentic hadith that talk about this. They will be cutting and destroying Islam urwatan, step by step, piece by piece. Piece by piece, they will be destroying Islam gradually. حتى لا يقال Allah Allah, until the time you don't find somebody who says Allah. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. It will be like until the time you find nobody who is saying Allah. And that's really tragedy, you know. قال لتأمرن بالمعروف. Either you ask people to do good and to be righteous, وَلَتَنْهَوُنَّ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and you ask them, you know, to stay away from munkar, the ma'asi. أَوْ لَيُسَلِّطَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ شِرَارَكُمْ, or else Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give the authority to who? To the bad ones. You know, the bad ones will be on top of you, you know, and they will be the one who will decide amongst you. فَيَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ, and they will taste you, you know, the worst type of punishment. ثُمَّ يَدْعُوا خِيَارُكُمْ فَلَا يُسْتَجَابُ لَهُمْ. At the same time, when the good ones, you know, put up their hands and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will not listen to their invocations. You know, imagine the fitna will come in this way, and the good ones, when they ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take it off, Allah would not listen to them. Yani, look like the time some people know, May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us good and tawfiq, and also help us to participate in bringing good to the people. والله لتأمرن بالمعروف ولتنهون عن المنكر أو ليبعثن الله عليكم من لا يرحم صغيركم ولا يوقر كبيركم. Either you do the amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar, or else Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to send you somebody who will not show mercy to the younger ones and will never respect the elders. So as I said, this hadith is weak, but you can find almost every single piece of it in another hadith being established by the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وفي معجم الطبراني وغيره من حديث سعيد بن جبير عن ابن عباس قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما طفف قوم كيلا. In the معجم الطبراني hadith of Sa'id ibn Jubair, which he narrated from his Sheikh Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said this is one of the closest student to Abdullah ibn Abbas. Subhanallah, سطر التاريخ يعني طرقه في طلب العلم. He was seeking the knowledge, and he gave us the best example of how talib al-ilm should be in his hirs, taking note. Nowadays we don't know this. Why? Because we have devices. They memorize for us what we want to memorize. So we lost a lot. They used to write. They said Sayyid ibn Jubair used to come to Abdullah ibn Abbas and write everything he says. And the rest of the students used to laugh at him. What's wrong with you? But later on I don't know whether he said it, but he should tell them what's wrong with you later on. Because they realize their mistakes. When he was writing, they don't. He wrote on the book he wrote, if the pages are completed, he go to some he go and write it on his hand also. Okay, the pages are completed, all of them he write on his hand. The hand he make it full, he go to the other hand. He write on his shoes. So everything that I can accept right, then he just write. And he goes back home, he can wash everything. Subhanallah. They used to say him, what is this? He shouldn't do that. But then at the end of the day, they realized that he became ayah min ayatullah in terms of knowledge. If you talk about tafsir, you go to him. Tell us about fiqh, you go to him. Almost every discipline, this man is like his sheikh. So student of knowledge, take this attitude of writing that which you take from your sheikh. Don't depend on the technology. They are making a person lazy. You get idea? And I already have the recording. When do you go and play it back and listen? Sometimes never. Sometimes we never did that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us good and tawfiq, and bring this attitude back to our students wherever they are. So Sayyid ibn Jubair said, Abdullah ibn Abbas said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما طفف قوم كيلا. People will never do tatfif in the kail. Tatfif means to have deficiency in the measurement. They oppress others when they sell them something. They don't give them their full right. That's tatfif. Whether it is on the scale they make it so light in the way that when they put the item and the goods, it will go down very quickly because the scale is so light. They don't leave it in the way it is. When it comes to the containers, those also they hit it sometimes in the way the capacity, the content will be very, very low. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيْلٌ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا اكْتَالُوا عَلَى النَّاسِ يَسْتَوْفُونَ وَإِذَا كَالُوهُمْ أَوْ وَزَنُوهُمْ يُخْسِرُونَ أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَئِكَ أَنَّهُمْ مَبْعُوثُونَ لِيَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ يَوْمَ يَقُومُ النَّاسُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. It's a very big sin, that can invite destruction, for that person who is doing. A nation was destroyed because of this, and now you find this being practiced in the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam by who? By the Muslims. I don't care about kuffar, by the Muslims, So that's tatfif. When you give somebody, give him his right. The way you look for your right, you also give them their right, in total. If you don't add, don't decrease, because the punishment on the day of judgment is very heavy. And understand that it's al-rizqu min Allah azza wa jal. That little amount that you take, can take a person to hell. وَالْوَيْلُ وَادٍ فِي جَهَنَّمَ كَمَا قَالَ بَعْضُ السَّلَفِ is a valley in Jahannam. لو أدخلت فيه جبال الدنيا لذابت. Very terrible, terrible place in Jahannam. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to the truth. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, ما طفف قوم كيلا ولا بخسوا ميزانا إلا منعهم الله القطر. And if they do the tatfif al-kayl is a container, like the sa, the mud, we have. وَلَا بَخَسُوا مِيزَانًا. And the mizan is the scale. إِلَّا مَنَعَهُمُ اللَّهُ الْقَطْرَ. Except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cause them to lose the qatr. What is qatr? Rain. They might not get rain from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا ظَهَرَ فِي قَوْمٍ الزِّنَا. We talked about this last time, right? Okay. It is another version of the hadith. وَمَا ظَهَرَ فِي قَوْمٍ الزِّنَا. And zina never take place and become rampant amongst a people. إِلَّا ظَهَرَ فِيهِمُ الْمَوْتِ. Allahu Akbar, subhanallah. إِلَّا ظَهَرَ فِيهِمُ الْمَوْتِ. How is it now? A lot. Almost every day you hear, before, you can stay for quite long before you hear somebody who is closer to you, not really closer to you in terms of relationship, but somebody that you know or within your community, you might stay for quite a while without listening to this. But now, subhanAllah, almost every day you hear somebody died, this one died. So this death to be an increase is the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put cause for almost everything. وَمَا ظَهَرَ فِي قَوْمٍ الزِّنَا إِلَّا ظَهَرَ فِيهِمُ الْمَوْتِ. Except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put death in them. So it's going to be rampant. People will die a lot. وَمَا ظَهَرَ فِيهِمْ إِلَّا ظَهَرَ فِيهِمُ الْمَوْتِ وَمَا ظَهَرَ فِي قَوْمٍ الرِّبَا إِلَّا سَلَّطَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْجُنُونَ. Subhanallah. And if people, take riba, إِلَّا سَلَّطَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ جُنُونَ. So don't you ever think that this junoon that will take place, it is only in the day of judgment. No. This hadith confirms that it is also going to take place in this dunya. إِلَّا سَلَّطَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ جُنُونَ. And don't say that, okay, but we don't see it physically. But junoon, funun. You have different types of junoon, people might be majaneen, but they don't know they are majaneen. A person might be majnoon, insane, but he doesn't know. Otherwise, tell me, how is it possible for a person to know what is waiting for him of the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, and he's at a war with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this life, and then still will go and tell you, it's okay to take riba nowadays. What is that? Junoon. لا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم. Some people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused them to forget themselves. So riba is really bad. And as such, I really advise our brothers and sisters to stay away from riba and anything that leads to riba. Any shubha, anything that has shubha in your business, wallahi, stay away from it. Yeah, brothers and sisters, people are complaining, complaining about what? Lack of barakah in our wealth, suffering, calamity here and there, trouble. You went out of one, you get inside the other one, If it doesn't come to you today, it comes to you tomorrow, Let us look at our attitude, concerning the way we live our life. What exactly are we doing? What kind of business are you doing? Almost everything nowadays is related to riba. You should know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His risk is overwhelming and is everywhere. And who is the one who is making people risk? Giving them risk? Allah. ما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. The real purpose of ibadah, of worship, is ibadah. And as such, whatsoever you're doing which contradicts this purpose is supposed to be kept aside. There shouldn't be a second thought. I always say this. There shouldn't be a second thought. It is only one option. It shouldn't be like, where should I go? No, it doesn't go like that. That's you do it when Ibrahim tell you do something, when Kareem tell you do something. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell you do or don't, there shouldn't be any other option, or opinion. It's just what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. So dear brothers and sisters, stay away from riba and stay away from shubhatul riba to attain success in this life, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get involved in your affairs. قال ولا ظهر في قوم القتل يقتل بعضهم بعضا إلا سلط الله عليهم عدوهم. And if we keep on fighting ourselves, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let the enemy to win against us. You get the idea? So all of these things, if you look at them nowadays, منطبق على أمتي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. ولا ظهر في قوم عمل قوم لوط إلا ظهر فيهم الخسف. Nowadays you have people are discussing whether it's okay, to give freedom for the Lutiyah, those homosexual sexuals, the action. Is it okay to do it? You have also one Majnoon that will tell you that even Quran condone that, Junoon. And you have in some places, without mentioning name, they even have a masjid. I don't know whether it's correct or wrong, but somebody told me that there is masjid, which the Imam also, I don't know whether he is like that. Okay, I forgot the way they said it, but they said there is a masjid which these people attend. Subhanallah. And there is no place in the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala where this is ever tolerated. From day one it has been rejected. And the worst type of punishment that we witnessed in this life was the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave those people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَطَمَسْنَا أَعْيُنَهُمْ. The first thing that happened to them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those people who attended the house of Lut alayhi salam, remove their face. They don't have the shape of the face is gone, the eyes is gone. They become blind immediately. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Lut alayhi salam, alaysa subh bi qarib. When Fajr comes, Jibreel alayhi salam took them. And until the time, he connected them to the heavens, And then somebody will come and tell you this is a case which is tolerated by Islam. Allah took them up, until the time He connects them to the heaven, the sama. The angels, they heard nibah al-kilab wa siyah al-diyaka. They can hear the screaming of the people, and dogs barking, they can hear them, and the birds and the hens, they are shouting, they can hear that. How much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala get them up. And then Allah says, فَجَعَلْنَا عَلِيهَا سَافِلَهَا. Turn them upside down. And that was not enough. Allah says, وَأَمْطَرْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ حِجَارَةً مِّن سِجِّيلٍ. Subhanallah. Punishment on top of punishment. That was more than enough for them. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rained on them fire. Why? Because they agree with same-sex marriage, especially from the brother side. That's the homosexuality or sodomy, they call it. Allah never tolerated it in any Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has never been condoned. So if somebody wants to do it out of the constitutional freedom, that's something else. But it shouldn't be attributed to Islam. it is not Islamic. And it cannot be Islamic, and it will remain un-Islamic until the Day of Judgment. Until the Day of Judgment. It has no place at all. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ has said. If this is accepted by a people, he says, إِلَّا ظَهَرَ فِيهِمُ الْخَسْفِ. The khasf is to open a place and people get inside. And then it's closed or it doesn't close. But the point is to have this kind of earthquake whereby the land will slide and then people will get inside. A lot. وما ترك قوم الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر إلا لم ترفع أعمالهم ولم يسمع دعاهم. And the people will never stay away from Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, except that they will reach a situation where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept their deeds, and also when they make dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not listen to their dua. So this hadith is authentic. We should spread it to the people and remind them about this. Cheating in business is absolutely wrong and haram, and it brings nothing except tragedy in the community. Zina brings nothing except tragedy to the community. وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا إِنَّهُ كَانَ فَاحِشَةً وَسَاءَ سَبِيلًا. And as such, we should promote, this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, so that people will stay away from zina. And staying away from zina means to stay away from anything that can invite to the zina. Unnecessary looking, unnecessary talking, shaking, touching the opposite gender, and meetings, having close range meetings, and having the khalwa and whatsoever can invite, zina. A person should stay away from it. We should try also to control our kids not to be exposed to the music, because everyone knows, even the musicians say it provoke what? Desire, and it ends up by tragedy. And we should try to restrict our kids and our children, especially the younger one, to the scholars, not to the Facebook, whereby they will go and get the wrong fatwa. And you find in some countries, a person will take a weapon and kill the police and kill the soldiers. These are the people who are taking care of us, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course. But these are the securities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, handed this responsibility to them to protect the community. You take a gun and just go and kill. Why? Because somebody gave him fatwa that these people are cooperating with the authority. SubhanAllah. You can see this mentality. This is a mentality of who? Khawarij. Okay, there before. And one of the causes of this, deficiency is that knowledge nowadays is taken from anyone. People are not sensitive when it comes to the religion. Everyone can preach, and it's okay. He knows, he study, and he gives fatwa in the wrong way, and people go and take action against Muslims. And promotes this also issue of the riba, real riba, and the real teaching about riba, because nowadays they feed our ears with trash, things which are not Islam. We are told that these are the Islamic things, and that's why the Islamic finance is not moving anywhere up to date. We are still in the same position we were 50 years ago, if not worse. Because nowadays, instead of fixing what we're doing, we introduce new system, and that one also is wrong. We go for a new one. Every single day you hear new things being introduced by the people. Funny life, funny life. We're making jokes to ourselves because you cannot trick Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you can trick the community, But you cannot do that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you remember that hadith, although it's weak, but it says people will come يَخْتِلُونَ الدِّينَ بِالدُّنْيَا, أو يَخْتِلُونَ الدُّنْيَا بِالدِّينَ, using the deen to get to their dunya. Exactly this is what is taking place in the ummah nowadays. You have many of these people, they use the deen to reach their dunya. So this riba is rampant, it's almost everywhere. A person should be very careful. Anything that you're going for, which has interest in it, in Islam you have to stay away. You must stay away from it. Any loan you give a person and you take interest, or somebody take interest, whether they call it hiba, they call it riba, they call it hadiyah, they call it whatever they fawaid, ribh, interest, they call it whatever they want to call it. In Islam it is riba. That's why those who call it hiba, I told them just remove the H and put the R. It goes also the same thing, riba. Because it is. Okay, so we have to be very careful. And when it comes to the exchange, when you give 1 ringgit or you give $1, you're supposed to take $1. If I give you $1 and I take $2, from you, that will be riba. $1, 1 cent, that will be riba. Should be very clear about that. Nobody can come and change the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with so many tricks. Riba can only be justified in one situation. What is that situation? Life-threatening situation. When a person is about to die, and he knows that if he doesn't take the riba, he will lose his life. Can he do the riba or he can't? We're talking about life-threatening situation. If he doesn't go for the riba, he will lose his life for sure. Then the riba is okay for him because life is sacred. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَمَنِ اضْطُرَّ فِي مَخْمَصَةٍ غَيْرَ مُتَجَانِفٍ لِإِثْمٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. When you are forced by hunger or any form of necessity and you couldn't find alternative, and also you believe if you take that haram, the necessity will be gone. These are the two conditions, that we have to apply when we are utilizing the rukhsah in the situation of darura. That the alternative shouldn't be there. If there is halal alternative, you must go to the halal alternative. You cannot say, no, this halal alternative, I don't like it. It doesn't go with Sharia. The halal alternative shouldn't be there. And the second condition is you must be sure that after you take that haram, the darura will be gone. But if you're not sure, then it is not permissible for you to go for that. That's why some says in the medicine, there is no darura. That's why if there is haram inside the medicine, you should stay away from it because we always have alternative. And you don't have the assurance that if you take that medicine, you will be okay. So haram remains haram. If a person takes the medicine which is haram, he has to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make tawbah to Allah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to the truth. So let's promote this, hadith and help our community to stay away from riba and anything that involves riba. Okay, if we are having this attitude, the system will change by itself. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. We just need to change. The system will change by itself. So let's also engage in Amr bil Ma'ruf. This is the job of everyone. This is the job of everyone. Amr bil Ma'ruf is not just for Kareem, Bashir, Ibrahim, Fulan wa Illan. It's for everyone. Everyone is supposed to engage in Al-Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar. ورواه ابن أبي الدنيا من حديث إبراهيم بن الأشعث عن عبد الرحمن بن زيد عن أبيه عن سعيد به. وفي المسند وغيره من حديث عروة عن عائشة قالت دخل علي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وقد حفزه النفس فعرفت في وجهه أن قد حفزه شيء فما تكلم حتى توضأ وخرج فلصقت بالحجرة فصعد المنبر فحمد الله وأثنى عليه ثم قال يا أيها الناس إن الله يقول لكم مروا بالمعروف وانهوا عن المنكر قبل أن تدعوني فلا أجيب لكم وتستنصروني فلا أنصركم وتسألوني فلا أعطيكم. Aisha radiallahu anha said, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam came back home, and you can see from his face and his breathing that there is something worrying him. So she said, from the face I can read that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam is worried about something. So he did not talk to everyone when he gets inside the house. Hatta tawadda. He makes wudu first. And then Aisha said, wa kharaj, and then he went out. So I tried to come closer because he went to the masjid so that I would not miss anything he will say. I put myself very connected to the hujra, to the house, to the room, to the wall that is next to the masjid. فَصَعِدَ الْمِنْبَرِ. The Prophet ﷺ went to the minbar. فَحَمِدَ اللَّهَ وَأَثْنَى عَلَيْهِ ثُمَّ قَالَ. Then he praised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then he said, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna Allah yaqul lakum. He says, people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you the following. Muru bil ma'ruf. You have to command people and engage in amr bil ma'ruf and also engage in asking people to stay away from evil. قبل أن تدعوني فلا أجيب لكم. Before you reach a situation whereby you will be asking me فلا أجيب لكم, and I will never listen to you. You'll be calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but He will not listen. وتستنصرني فلا أنصركم. And you ask me to support you, to help you, but I will not do that. وتسألوني فلا أعطيكم. And you ask me for something and I will not give you your need. So this hadith has weaknesses inside it, but if you can see, the pieces of this hadith are also supported in some other hadith. وقال العمري الزاهد إن من غفلتك عن نفسك وإعراضك عن الله أن ترى ما يسخط الله فتتجاوزه ولا تأمر فيه ولا تنهى عنه خوفا ممن لا يملك لنفسه ضرا ولا نفعا. That's very interesting. He says it is this Al-Umari Al-Zahid Al-Umari Al-Zahid said, Inna min ghaflatika an nafsik is a great sign, one of the great signs that shows that you are really heedless. You know, heedless in that which benefits you, and also you are still in a state of unconsciousness about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you turning away from Allah. How do you know? What is the sign for you to know that you reach this situation? That you are really among the heedless ones, those people who turn away against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and tara ma yuskhit Allah fatatajawazu. To see that which angers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but unfortunately you just pass and leave it. وَلَا تَأْمُرُ فِيهِ وَلَا تَنْهَانُ. You don't ask people to do that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, and also you don't ask them to stay away from that evil which they do it. And you have the ability to do that. We're talking about those who have the ability to do it. ليش؟ قال خوفا ممن لا يملك لنفسه ضرا ولا نفعا. You are afraid of somebody who doesn't, لا يملك لنفسه, doesn't have a control over that which benefits him or which harms him. Subhanallah. You are afraid of people who cannot benefit themselves and they cannot harm themselves. Because the benefit and the harm comes from who? The creator of everyone. If something happened, this is with his permission. This person cannot do it by himself. Cannot bring that benefit to himself. And you are scared of him. Why? But honestly speaking, it is also a sign that we are too much, as they said, too much away, detached from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put fear, in our heart, of those people who don't control everything. So I don't do the Amr Ma'ruf, I don't say the truth because I'm afraid of somebody. So a person should be among those righteous people, الَّذِينَ لَا يَخَافُونَ فِي اللَّهِ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ. They don't have the fear of anyone, and they are not afraid of the blame of the blamers. They don't care. They use wisdom in their mawa'id, and they go ahead and do the maw'idah without having the fear of anyone. وقال العمري أيضا من ترك الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر مخافة المخلوقين نزعت عنه الطاعة ولو أمر ولده أو بعض مواليه لاستخف بحقه. Subhanallah. He said whoever stays away from أمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر, خوفا من المخلوقين, out of the fear of the people. And nowadays the Amr Ma'ruf is not even to command people, even to command ourselves we don't do, How many times you find a person because of his job, he does what he knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make impermissible. How many times we do that? A lot. We do a lot of things which is haram, but we support. And that is a support for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We stay away from it out of the hope that we can keep that which we are doing. I met a person who completely shaved his beard, and I told him, come on, at least keep some, And why did he do that? If you're going back to your country, in his country, he might be killed. So if you're going back to that, I can understand that you don't do it because you're going back to your country, you might be killed. I can understand, But you stay in a place where this is respected. Why don't you do it? He said, because this is what people want. I'm trying to quote him properly. He said, this is what people are looking for. He doesn't want to go against what people want. I remember the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, Man arda Allah bi sakhatin nas, kafahu Allahu mu'natan nas. If you please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in doing something which Allah commanded you to do, although some people might not like it, Allah is going to take care of them. It means don't worry, Allah will do the job for you. وَمَنْ أَرْضَ النَّاسَ بِسَخَطِ اللَّهِ وَكَلَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَى النَّاسِ. And if you please others in the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want, Allah will let you be with people. And you might say it's so light, Human beings, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to support you, subhanAllah, you cannot survive in this life dealing with human beings alone. Dealing with human beings. This human being that you see, subhanAllah, you cannot survive dealing with them alone. You need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to step in. They will put you into 70,000 dahiya. So you need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be with you. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, get busy doing that which I command you to do. I will be there taking care of them. Don't worry. Get busy doing that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, and stay away from the haram. Allah says, I will take care of them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tawfiq. So if a person stays away from commanding people to be good out of the fear of the makhluqeen, he says, this scholar said what? He said, nuzi'at minhu at-ta'ah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to cast on him disrespect, and the respect is going to be taken away from him. In a way, لو أمر ولده, if he is to command his child, his own child, أو بعض مواليه, or his mate or the slaves, he will find them disrespecting his command, and they will go against his right. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala التوفيق واللطف. وذكر الإمام أحمد في مسنده من حديث قيس بن أبي حازم قال قال أبو بكر الصديق يا أيها الناس إنكم تتلون هذه الآية وإنكم تضعونها على غير موضعها. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, Ya ayyuhan nas, you usually read this ayah and unfortunately usually interpret it in the wrong way. Which ayah is that? Ayatul Ma'idah. Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu alaykum anfusakum la yadurrukum man dhalla idha hadaytum. People usually used to take it literally. Mind your business. As long as you're righteous, those who are evil will never harm you. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, no, this is not the correct translation. So what is the correct translation? He says, وَإِنِّي سَمِعْتُ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم يقول, I heard the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم saying, إِنَّ النَّاسَ إِذَا رَأَوُا الظَّالِمَ فَلَمْ يَأْخُذُوا عَلَى يَدَيْهِ. People, whenever they see a zalim, an oppressor, and they do not stop him from committing the dhulm. They do not stop him from committing dhulm. وَفِي لَفْظٍ إِذَا رَأَوُا الْمُنْكَرَ فَلَمْ يُغَيِّرُوهُ. In another narration, Abu Bakr said, if they see a munkar and they do not change it, يُوشِكُ أَنْ يَعُمَّهُمُ اللَّهُ بِعِقَابٍ مِنْ عِنْدِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send a punishment which will include everyone. Every one of them. All of them will be in trouble because of that negligence in the da'wah. So how do we interpret the ayah then? يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ عَلَيْكُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ لَا يَضُرُّكُمْ مَنْ ضَلَّ إِذَا اهْتَدَيْتُمْ. عليكم أنفسكم fix yourself and transfer the message to others. The reformation should be transferred to others. As long as you're doing this, you fix yourself and you give da'wah to the people. لا يضركم من ضل إذا اهتديتم. In this regard, if somebody refused to take from you and went astray, his bad attitude will never harm you. When the punishment comes, it will get him alone. You will not be involved. This is the meaning of the ayah. As long as you do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks you to do, because hidayah cannot be perfected as long as a person is staying away from da'wah. One of the requirements we do have as a Muslim is to spread the message of Allah. If you don't do it, your hidayah is deficient. Your hidayah is deficient. You must involve in the da'wah. This ayah is saying that as long as you are giving the da'wah and you're righteous and you give da'wah also as well, the one who went astray will never harm you. It doesn't mean mind your business. Don't give da'wah in the way some people might understand and interpret the ayah in this wrong way. They will tell you that mind your business. As long as you mind your business, you become righteous. Those criminals, this is what they have chosen for themselves, and when the punishment comes, it will not include you. No, Allah doesn't do that. You can only escape the punishment when you do your part. Be like those ones from among the children of Israel when they said, when somebody told them, لِمَ تَعِذُونَ قَوْمًا اللَّهُ مُهْلِكُهُمْ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُهُمْ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا قَالُوا مَعْذِرَةً إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ. Subhanallah. They were given da'wah and somebody told them, لِمَ تَعِذُونَ قَوْمًا اللَّهُ مُهْلِكُهُمْ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُهُمْ. Why do you waste your time? You're inviting a people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will destroy, or He will punish them. You already know that these guys are going to be punished. Why do you waste your time? You have demotivators in the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You want to speak the truth, somebody will tell you, no, don't. Why? Because if you do this, this person will get angry. So what? As long as da'wah will be continuous, no problem. The only situation that we will ask you to keep silent is when the mafsada is going to take place in a way worse than the way it was before. Then we ask you to relax. As long as just a person will say something, we have heard a lot. So a person should engage in giving the da'wah, and as long as you give the da'wah, then ضَلَالُ مَنْ ضَلَّ لَا يَضُرُّكَ أَنْتَ. ضَلَالُ مَنْ ضَلَّ لَا يَضُرُّكَ أَنْتَ. وذكر الأوزاعي عن يحيى بن أبي كثير عن أبي سلمة عن أبي هريرة قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا خفيت الخطيئات لم تضر إلا صاحبها. This hadith is weaker. This hadith is weak narration. And the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, according to this hadith, says when the khati'ah, the sin is in secret, is hidden, لم تضر إلا صاحبها, it will not harm except the one who does it. وإذا ظهرت فلم تغير ضرت العامة. And if it is exposed and nobody bother to change it, then it is going to affect everyone. It's going to affect everyone. Okay, to a certain extent, some of the sins are like that, but some of them are not. Even if they are in secret, they go out. They begin with a practice in secret, then they go out in a worse way. Okay, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to the truth. وذكر الإمام أحمد عن عمر بن الخطاب قال توشك القرى أن تخرب وهي عامرة. قيل وكيف تخرب وهي عامرة؟ قال إذا على فجارها أبرارها وساد القبيلة منافقوها. Umar radiallahu anhu, according to this narration of Imam Ahmad, he said, we are about to see the time whereby you see a city being destroyed, وهي عامرة, and it's well developed. It will collapse. They tell him, when does that happen? He says, and how is it possible that it's well developed and it will go down? قال إذا على فجارها أبرارها. When the fujjar, the bad ones, they becomes leaders, the authority on top of the good ones. They are the one who are controlling and managing the affairs of the good ones. وَسَادَ الْقَبِيلَةَ مُنَافِقُوهَا. And the one who lead the qabila, the whole tribe is led by the munafiqeen. وَسَادَ الْقَبِيلَةَ مُنَافِقُوهَا. The whole tribe is become led by the munafiqeen. So punishment is going to come very quickly. وذكر الأوزاعي عن حسان بن عطية عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. This hadith also is mursal. He mentioned عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال سيظهر شرار أمتي على خيارها حتى يستخفي المؤمن فيهم كما يستخفي المنافق فينا اليوم. He said the bad ones amongst the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam are going to have authority and power over the good one. In the way you will see the mu'min, the good ones are hiding, trying to hide themselves in the way the munafiqeen in our time are hiding themselves. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the munafiqeen are hiding themselves. There will be a time where the Muslims are hiding themselves also. The good ones will be hiding themselves. This narration is weak, although you find some application of this in our life. وذكر ابن أبي الدنيا من حديث ابن عباس يرفعه قال يأتي زمان يذوب فيه قلب المؤمن كما يذوب الملح في الماء قيل مما ذاك يا رسول الله قال فيما يرى من المنكر فلا يستطيع تغييره. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said a time will come where the heart of a believer will melt just like the way يذوب الملح في الماء, like the way the milk, what is milk? Salt. The salt dissolve when you put it inside the water. قيل مما ذاك يا رسول الله. So they ask him, Ya Rasulullah, why is that going to happen? Why? What is the sabab that his qalb, will melt, will be in this state of difficulty? قال مما يرى من المنكر فلا يستطيع تغييره. Because of the munkar that he sees being practiced by the people, but unfortunately he doesn't have the capacity to change it. He doesn't have the capacity and the ability to change it. So, Allahu Alam, this one also according to this one is okay, alhamdulillah. مما يرى من المنكر لا يستطيع تغييره. According to the commentator, that this hadith also has some issues on it. The isnad of this hadith has some issue on it. Taking it to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be questionable. But is it real? Yes, it is, because sometimes you might be in a situation. A lot of times, you really get punished from inside because of the munkar that you see, and you don't have the capacity to change it. وذكر الإمام أحمد من حديث جرير ابن عبد الله البجلي أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ما من قوم يعمل فيهم بالمعاصي وهم أعز وأكثر ممن يعمله لم يغيروه إلا عمهم الله بعقاب. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, any people that let the ma'asi to be committed amongst them, وَهُمْ أَعَزُّ وَأَكْثَرُ, and they are more in number. They're Muslims and they are more in number. The population is more than the population of the wrongdoers. And as they are stronger in terms of authority and power than those people who are committing the sin. But unfortunately, they don't fix the bad thing done by others. إِلَّا عَمَّهُمُ اللَّهُ بِعَقَابٍ, except that when the punishment comes, it will include all of them. Not just the one who is doing it, but it will include all of them. Get it? So the condition is they have the authority, but they don't fix it. Allah will send a punishment that will include everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My battery went off when I connect the charger. It tells me, take me where you kept me. So let's just complete. This is the last hadith actually. He says, ما من قوم يعمل فيهم بالمعاصي وهم أعز وأكثر ممن يعمله ولم يغيروه إلا عمهم الله بعقاب. So if you find a people that ma'asi have been committed among them and they are greater in number, they are more in number, but unfortunately they don't fix it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to send a punishment which will include everyone. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us good and help us to have ability, and the courage to go and engage in the dawah, community, to give dawah wherever we are according to our our capability, in order to avoid all of these punishment that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that will take place when people stay away from the dawah. So this is the best place to stop, inshallah. The next hadith is a very important hadith that talks about a person who commands people to do good, but unfortunately he doesn't do it. It's a very scary hadith and very important for us to know. So I will keep it for the next session, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And now let's move to the question and answer session, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Yes, Abdurrahman, ilayk al-mic. Ameen.
First question is by Sister Saada. Asking for someone, does najasa lose its impurity when it becomes dry?
Does najasa
lose its impurity, as in it becomes pure when it is dry, when it becomes dry?
What is that?
Does najasa become pure when it becomes dried?
That's what they meant. Okay, no, it doesn't. That state of impurity is not going to remove just because the nature of the najasa changes, except in the case of istihala. That's controversial among the scholars. Does najasa change bil istihala or it doesn't change? Istihala means it changed completely to another thing. Like that example they give, you put a kalb in. You put a dog in salt, huge amount of salt. And after a few years, you come, I don't know, few months or few years, but you come and found nothing except salt. It also turned into salt. Does that mean it is not najasa anymore? So does that now they become tahir, or you have a rat that turned into milk? Ibn Taymiyyah is upon this opinion that إذا استحالت النجاسة بأي شيء يطهر. وهذا أقرب الأقوال. إذا استحالت يعني it changed to something else. لأن القاعدة تقول الحكم يدور مع علته وجودا وعدما. حكم, you give the ruling which is connected to the illah. The illah will be controlling the ruling. When it does exist, the hukum will exist. When it doesn't exist, the hukum will be gone. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tawfiq. So when it gets dry, it is still najasa. Okay, the boy poop or peed, it is still najasa. It is dry, it is not dry, it is still najasa until it is removed. Yes.
Question by Sister Mooney. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh. If we go out to purchase something and we didn't notice that they have a male salesperson who is transformed into a female, and we couldn't bring ourselves to advise to the person, but we hated the sin so much in our heart, are we sinful for not advising them?
No, it's okay, inshallah. It's okay even if you don't advise in the shop, you don't tell him, because sometimes also giving them advice in that place doesn't work. It's better to look for, if you can look for somebody who will advise him, to ask somebody to advise him, or to talk to the storekeeper, to talk to him. use the best method, because talking to him directly might not work at all. So it's better to look for the owner of the shop and advise him to advise that one. Since he wants to keep the business, he might change because of that. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala.
Yeah, Sheikh. Question by Thoban, and he's asking on behalf of another brother, how do I know if I'm being punished or tested?
You don't need to ask for this, Thoban. Tell them you shouldn't focus on this. The most important thing to focus on is that the test comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and any calamity that happens to them in their life, it is because of what they did, whether they know it or they don't know it. The most important thing is to be conscious and to seek the repentance, to ask Allah to seek the forgiveness of Allah and to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask His forgiveness and fix their attitudes and manners. I have heard a lot of people asking about this. How do I differentiate between test and the punishment? You don't need to do that, You don't need to do that. ما أصابكم من مصيبة فبما كسبت أيديكم ويعفو عن كثير. Get busy looking for the way and the means to fix yourself. That's the best thing for a Muslim to be doing, inshallah. Assalam.
Regarding the hadith that talks about the believer's heart melting, is the believer excused because he couldn't correct the wrong?
Yeah, yes, Ada, because at that moment they cannot do anything. He's talking about a situation where you can't do anything. You just have to watch. It is beyond your control. There is nothing you can do. Cannot command, or you command, but it doesn't want to change, because you don't have the authority. You have been advising, but those who are in the authority, they kept doing it. And you can't do anything. And there are people like that, In some countries, you have seen that things which are done by the authority, is very wrong. But what can you do? Nothing. You don't have power in your hand to go and fix it, and your word is not heard by them. And there is nobody in the authority who you can talk so that it will be changed. So in this case, you will be sitting down at home, burning from inside, but nothing you can do.
Yeah, Sheikh. A question by Brother Abu Bakr. Sheikh, some people say that it's Islamically good to stay up to date or current with the latest news and what is happening around in the world. However, sometimes the radio stations and TV stations put on music and have people dressed in an Islamic manner. Is it still okay to watch or listen to these with the intention of being up to date with the news?
No. You know that you're going to go for the music, you shouldn't go for that. There are places where you don't have the music, or at least when it comes, you turn it. But when the broadcaster is somebody that is not dressed properly, and yourself, it is wrong for a person to go. Look for other channels. Look for other channels. Be honest to yourself, because sometimes we say it's okay and we go, but unfortunately, we are not able to control our emotions. So be on the safe side. You have a lot of means to get news. You have so much means to get news. Have it behind the screen and then listen. Or out of the fear of getting into the trap of shaitan, just close it completely. But that would not be an excuse to be up to date. You can be up to date by asking people. There are some people always who watch. Ask them to tell you that. What is that? Allah guide us to the truth.
Another question by Abu Bakr. When it comes to business, what things can be ordered and what things cannot be ordered?
Only halal can be ordered and haram should be avoided.
No, but really?
You mean, Abdurrahman, do I understand the question properly? Order, you're ordering something or I'm wrong?
Word.
Not
Ah,
ordering.
I heard the order. That's why I answered that. You're talking about hoarding. The best is to avoid it completely. The best is to avoid it completely. Although many scholars said it only the prohibition only exists in necessities, like food that are necessary. You cannot do that. But other things is okay for you to do. Is up to you. You know, you do the ihtikar in the computers or the flash drives, and they are not necessary. I mean, if you are living in a place where they're not necessary, it's okay. But in general, as a businessman, I really advise you not to do that. Not to do that. Because it contributes to the prices to grow high in the future. So you're not helping the community at all.
A question by Thawban. What are the best books on Islamic finance?
I don't know. There is one in Arabic. Yeah, there's one in Arabic. الربا والمعاملات المصرفية. That one is very good, very good. And there is another one also المعاملات المحرمة في الإسلام. That one also is very good, very good. Other than that, I don't know. The English ones, I don't know. Any book that I can recommend a person to go and study in English concerning the Islamic finance, which is free from deficiency in this regard. I don't know. Maybe there is, inshallah, because good people, they're everywhere. But I don't know. But in Arabic, I know that book is really good, really good. الربا والمعاملات المصرفية is very good. It talks about riba in detail, تفصيل الممل, and talks about other Islamic finance, insurance, and other things, عينة, tawarruk, and all of these things. It discussed that, inshallah.
Yeah. Question by Brother Sam.
We might be having a course with Yayasan Ta'aleem. I don't know whether it is public or not public, but as Norita, Murni, Shahida, those one can confirm whether it is public or not public. But we might be having lectures on this terminologies. Inshallah, I recommend that you should try and attend it. Either ta'ala.
It looks like it's public. Live streaming on YouTube.
So Khalid said it looks like it is public because live. Okay, it is public. I advise let's go and have a time with this, inshallah. We're gonna have a lot of battles there, so let's go, inshallah. Okay.
A question by Ahsan, and he's asking on behalf of another brother. What is the best way to soften your heart? Sometimes people fall into sins and it causes desensitization towards the sin. How can one recover from this?
Wallahi, be with the good Muslims. Stick with the Quran. Be with the good. Have a good company. Is really necessary. Friends and wife and husband. Have somebody who is good, who is very sensitive concerning this. Be with the good ones. Don't go with the bad ones. And read Quran a lot. Read Quran a lot. وحافظ على ذكر القرآن وحافظ على درس القرآن فإنه يلين قلبا. That's Ibn Abdul Qawi. In the book we have studied, I know you already forgot that book. There's a book called منظومة الآداب that we once studied, in this platform. It was the one that preceded this. He talks about this. He says one of the best things that softens the heart is the Quran. He says that's why study Quran and read Quran a lot. It really contributes into the softness of the heart. And read a hadith of Raqai. Not promoting our class, but this class of ours, Ad-Daa, والدواء, take it very seriously. I really advise each and every one of us to take it seriously. Not because of the giver, but because of the knowledge, and the nature of that, information being delivered to us. And the other class of ours, Riyadh al-Salihin. The book was designed, both of them are designed to soften the heart and to make your heart very soft in a way it can reflect and accept, inshallah, the truth whenever it comes, and will remain conscious. So I really urge each and every one of us to make ourselves free during these 2 classes. Yeah. Bulugh al-Maram, if you come, inshallah, it's okay. I know it's very dry book talking about talaq, divorce, and some other matters, That was for the student of knowledge, but it's quite interesting, not to miss a class, not to miss a class for the sake of the dars itself, and also increase in iman. Because even from time to time you find, even in the Bulugh al-Maram, not just fiqh, you find raqa'iq also in it, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us good. Yes, Fulan.
Yeah, Sheikh. Question was similarly. She's asking about the shop where there is the person who is selling is mutahawwil jinsiyan. So this is a cross-dresser shop. So is it allowed for her to visit the same place in the future, or the other branches of the same shop, or it is better to avoid them completely?
No, well, these type of things, it's halal to go to even kafir and buy. When you find a Muslim who is desolate, it's okay. You can buy from Fasik, you can buy from Mu'min, you can buy from Kafir. No problem with that. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, as long as you are buying halal and the transaction is done in a halal way. But it is always better, Sister Moni and everyone, it is always better to support the good ones. If you find somebody who is doing it in a good way, it is always better to support that one. You get the idea? You find two people selling. One of them is really good Muslim, a student of knowledge who is having a business, or even if he's not a student of knowledge but a layman in society but good, it is always better for you to support that good one rather than going to the fasik one. You get the idea? So you find a place where they don't care, they accommodate everyone. He, she, it, he, she is all okay, but it also that. Those people who change their gender, they become something else. They don't care. Wallah, it's better to avoid them and go. If let's say the community is going to avoid them tomorrow, they will fix it. They will fix it. They will reject them, because we are talking about right? If constitutionally they have a right to do it, you have a right to stay away from buying from them. It's as simple as this. Go to somebody who don't tolerate this and buy from him. When they see that, they will come back. As long as they want the business to succeed, they will come back, inshallah. Allah guide us to the truth. Yes.
No, Sheikh. Question by Brother Muhammad Thani. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. A follow on the question of Brother Abu Bakr regarding hoarding. How about if a person is a farmer? Because during harvesting festivals, normally goods are cheap, but if he sells them out, he won't gain any profit. So he hoards them for future and then sells with a higher.
It's okay, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. That one, he was the one who grew it, and he has a right to sell it at the time he wants to do it. The worst type of hoarding is when you buy and keep it and save it so that it will be expensive and then you sell it somewhere else. That's really, really unfair for the community. But if you're the one who produce it, this is your right. You can even stay away from selling it and eat it yourself. You're not doing anything bad. You can keep it up to the time the need will be a bit greater, and then you bring it out and show mercy to the people. Then go to the highest and show mercy to the people.
Naam, Sheikh. Question Mr. Saada. Sheikh, speaking of the Quran, if a person wants to do hifz, is it okay for him to just stick to memorizing and not do khatam except in Ramadan?
Yes. It's very okay. Just stick with memorization. Memorize every day and revise what you memorize. Memorize and revise what you memorize. That's very okay, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. You have a purpose, an objective for doing what you're doing, inshallah.
I think we have come to an end with this question.
Okay, بارك الله فيكم جميعا. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يبارك فيكم ويوفقكم ويسددكم ويكون معكم حيثما كنتم إنه بكل جميل كفيل. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.